The Trojan War, Paris and Helen. The Trojan War began with a choice driven by desire. Paris of Troy was asked to judge a beauty contest between Hera, Athena, and Aphrodite. Hera offered political power, Athena promised victory in battle, and Aphrodite vowed to give him the love of Helen, the most beautiful mortal woman alive. Paris chose Aphrodite, binding his fate to her promise. She led him to Sparta, where Helen was married to King Menelaus. Whether through seduction or abduction, Paris carried Helen back to Troy, breaking sacred hospitality and violating the oath sworn by her former suitors to defend her marriage. Menelaus invoked that oath, gathering kings and armies from across Greece to launch an immense expedition against Troy. For 10 years, heroes like Achilles, Hector, and Odysseus fought while the gods themselves took sides. The deaths of champions and the Trojan horse all trace back to Paris's choice. A promise of love ignited a legendary war. The War of the Titans. Zeus and Metis lineage. The Titanomachy grew from fear within divine family bonds. Cronus, warned that one of his children would overthrow him, swallowed each newborn of Rhea. Zeus survived only because his mother hid him away in secrecy. When he matured, Zeus returned to challenge his father and free his swallowed siblings, igniting war between Olympians and Titans. After victory, Zeus married Metis, goddess of wisdom. When she became pregnant, prophecy warned their child would surpass Zeus in power. Terrified of repeating Cronus's fate, Zeus swallowed Metis to prevent the birth. In doing so, he mirrored the very act he had rebelled against. The Titan War and its aftermath were shaped by love of offspring, fear of succession, and control of lineage. Divine alliances formed around kinship as much as strength. Greek myth shows that even cosmic wars can grow from family attachment and the desperate desire to secure one's legacy across generations. The Centauromachy, Pirate House Wedding. The Centauromachy began at a wedding meant to unite former enemies. Pirate House, king of the Lapiths, invited the centaurs to celebrate his marriage to Hippodamia, hoping shared ritual and feast would forge lasting peace. The celebration began with music, ceremony, and heavy drinking, symbols of trust and welcome. But the centaurs, unaccustomed to wine, soon lost control. Intoxication turned to frenzy, and desire became violence. They lunged for Hippodamia and the other women, attempting to carry them away by force. The Lapiths instantly armed themselves to defend the bride and guests. The wedding hall erupted into brutal combat, spears against hooves, shields against clubs, order against chaos. The Lapiths ultimately drove the centaurs out, but the cause was unmistakable: uncontrolled lust colliding with marriage bonds and social order. Greek artists later framed the clash as civilization against savagery. A celebration of love became a legendary war, showing how passion without restraint can shatter peace and force communities to fight for those they cherish. The abduction of Persephone, Hades, and Demeter. Hades fell in love with Persephone, daughter of Demeter, and seized her into the underworld to be his queen. The act shattered Demeter, goddess of the harvest and fertility. In overwhelming grief, she withdrew life from the earth. Crops failed, fields turned barren, and famine spread across the human world, threatening extinction. The suffering forced Zeus to intervene between brother and sister. Negotiations revealed Persephone had eaten food in the underworld, binding her there by ancient law. A compromise followed. She would spend part of the year with Hades below and part with Demeter above. When she returned to her mother, growth and warmth resumed. When she descended again, the world fell into winter. Thus, the seasons were born from conflict between romantic desire and maternal devotion. No armies marched, yet all creation felt the struggle. The myth shows emotional bonds shaping cosmic order itself. A single abduction transformed nature's rhythm, proving that in mythology, love can move forces as vast as life and death. The Battle of Indra and Vrtra. Devotion and protection. In Vedic myth, the storm god Indra faced Vrtra, a colossal serpent who imprisoned the world's rivers and plunged the land into drought. The battle restored cosmic order, yet Indra's resolve carried a personal dimension. Devotion and protective duty sharpened his determination to strike. Lightning thundered as Indra attacked with his divine weapon. Vrtra coiled around mountains and waters, resisting every blow. Storms tore across heaven as the two forces clashed, the world trembling under their struggle. At last, Indra shattered the serpent's hold, releasing the rivers and restoring life to the earth. The victory symbolized more than strength. It reflected loyalty and the sacred obligation to defend what is valued. In many mythic traditions, gods fight not only for dominion, but for those under their protection. Indra's war shows devotion transforming cosmic battle into personal mission, where safeguarding the cherished becomes the power that reshapes creation. The Norse war for Freyja, Aesir and Vanir. Freyja, goddess of love, beauty, and fertility, was coveted across the Norse realms. Both the Aesir and the Vanir sought her alliance, knowing her favor symbolized prosperity, magic, and legitimacy. Rivalry over her loyalty helped ignite conflict between the two divine tribes. As tensions rose, negotiations failed and skirmishes spread across the worlds. Aesir warriors and Vanir sorcerers clashed, each faction seeking advantage through connection to Freyja. Her status turned affection into strategy and desire into politics. Even the possibility of her allegiance altered power balances among gods. The war ended through truce and exchange of hostages, merging the pantheons into a shared order. Yet its roots lay in longing and alliance centered on a goddess of love. Freyja's influence mobilized heaven itself. Norse myth presents love not as passive emotion, but as power capable of reshaping alliances, provoking war, and reorganizing the divine cosmos. Inanna and Dumuzi. Love and the underworld. Inanna, goddess of love and war, descended into the underworld, leaving her lover Dumuzi in the world above. As she passed each gate, she surrendered ornaments and power, entering death's realm stripped of protection. Her absence disrupted fertility and life across the earth, and the world began to wither. In the underworld she was trapped, and cosmic balance faltered. Crops failed, order weakened, and the living realm trembled. To restore equilibrium, arrangements were forged among gods. Dumuzi would share the underworld burden, dividing time between realms. His descent and return became bound to seasonal cycles of death and renewal. Their relationship forced negotiation between forces of life and death. Love demanded cosmic compromise. The myth ties romantic devotion directly to agricultural rhythm and mortality itself. Inanna's bond with Dumuzi reshaped existence across realms, showing that love could challenge death's laws and alter the balance between worlds. Adonis, Aphrodite and Persephone. Adonis, famed for extraordinary beauty, was loved by both Aphrodite and Persephone. Each claimed him, and their rivalry spread tension through divine and mortal realms. Desire for him became a contest of possession between love and death. Zeus decreed a compromise. Adonis would divide his year between Aphrodite, Persephone, and his own freedom. Yet the conflict never truly settled. While hunting, Adonis was killed by a wild boar, often interpreted as fate or divine jealousy. His death devastated Aphrodite and echoed through the underworld ruled by Persephone. Mourning rites spread among mortals. Adonis' life became a symbol of seasonal death and rebirth. His divided existence mirrored vegetation cycles, and his loss reshaped divine relations. The struggle over him shows beauty turning into rivalry and grief. In myth, love and possession can provoke gods themselves into conflict, proving desire powerful enough to move both heaven and earth. If you think love starting wars is intense, wait until you see what happens when love itself is cursed. Watch every cursed love story in mythology. Explain next. If you enjoyed this myth, join us for more myths deconstructed.